C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and yes, today is the day that I promised for this month that I would be doing a giveaway. It is my birthday, and so today is a good day for a giveaway. I made this 6x6 canvas panel mixed media piece, and I will be giving it away to someone who comments below. So if you would like to win this and have it sent to you, you can comment below. And then I'm going to use YouTube Random Comment Picker, which is, it'll pick a comment off this video in like 30 seconds rather than going through the whole long process of saving all the names in a database and then using random.org like I had before. I'm just going to use that software that picks a random comment, and that will be how we will do it. I will be doing that on the 30th, and I will announce the winner on the 31st of March, which will be in my vlog, and there'll be Happy Mail and a winner, and that will be announced then. And then that winner has 3 days to contact me with their address, either by email or by Facebook Messenger, so that I will have their address to send it. And if they don't contact me, I'll assume they don't want it. So that's all I have to say about that. Just remember to comment below, and of course all those other things that you do, like, subscribe, share. I'm really happy with this piece, and it's very difficult to give it up, but I started out with a cleanup print off of my 6x6 gel plate. You know, if you guys have been watching my channel, that I've been doing gel prints every single day using a prompt list from Birgit Koopsen, and just, you know, whatever prompt she uses is what inspires me to print that day. And I've been videoing all that, and I've been making videos out of it. So you guys, that will be a series that will continue into April, because I've got too many other things to do this month. I can't finish all of them. So I got this random print that was, I believe, on the day of using paper tubes, and it was just some leftover stuff on my 6x6, and it was just such a cool print. I could not even, you know, that sometimes that happens, the randomness of those crusty bits that are left on your plate, and then you put some more color because you don't want to waste anything, and you keep adding color to your secondary plate, and then you pull it at some point. It can turn out fantastic. In fact, this second piece that I was using to make the sun shape is the same thing. It was a cleanup. It has just some random, you know, stuff stuck on it, and those are my favorites. I was kind of joking in the comments the other day, but I might actually do this. I might make a music-only video called Ode to Crusty Bits that just goes through a flip-through of all my papers that weren't intentional, just so that you can know that those prints happen, and they might be the ones that you love the most, and they're just accidents. They're just pure serendipity and accidents, and it's great. That's one thing I really like about using the gel plate is not being over fussy and cleaning it constantly, but just letting that stuff build up. So after I drew my sun shape and cut it out, it's kind of like it's the shape of a sun, but it's kind of like an aura, a round aura shining out from the focal image that will be on there eventually. Then I decided that I wanted some waves. And so I just took little pieces of other papers that I had around. You know, I haven't put all those prints away. I have this huge stack. You would not even believe how many prints I have, and it's not even the end of the month yet. So I just grabbed a couple that had colors that I thought that I wanted to use, like this kind of light turquoisey aqua color, and some more other blues and pinks that I thought coordinated. They've got pattern on them because they're from different days of the printing. That one is from using the styrofoam to make marks on your plate. I don't know, anyway. I'm not even sure that all these videos have shown up on the channel yet at this point. No, I don't think they have. But anyway, I guess you're getting a sneak preview of some of these prints. Might not even have shown on the channel yet. So I'm carefully making sure that everything is stuck down using a card, At the very beginning, you saw me really put a lot of the matte gel medium down and then put the paper down and then scrape with that card, that plastic card. Looks like it's a Crown Club card. That's, I think, a rewards card from the movie theater. You know, to get out the bubbles, to make sure everything is smooth, to push any excess gel medium. And I'm using the gel formula medium, not the fluid. So this is what I really prefer for this type of collage. All the colors of the paints that were used and links to them and links to a gel plate, links to this particular medium that I like to use for collage will be listed in the description box below the video, as always. And those links go to Amazon. I'm an affiliate, and if you use my links, then I get a few cents if you buy something. So that always helps out my channel if you do that. There's also a donation, straight up donation button down there now that's PayPal. Several people have used it, and that's really awesome. So now what I'm doing is I've put on all my waves from different torn pieces. I like the juxtaposition between cutting paper and tearing paper and the differences that you get between the looks. So I did tear all the wavy pieces. I cut out the sun piece with scissors. I didn't force you to watch that. I cut it out so you wouldn't have to sit there and watch me cut. That's so boring. So I'm drawing a dolphin, and you guys who've watched me paper paint is what I call it before. This is a method that I use to be able to make a shape. I draw it on the deli paper, and then I glue papers over the top, and then I cut it out at the end from the back side. I could have just drawn this one on this gray piece, but I'd already drawn it on the deli paper. So in this particular case, the deli paper really wasn't that important. I could have drawn the dolphin right onto this light gray piece instead, but I hadn't grabbed it out of the stack yet. That's from Paper Tube Day also. It's a really cool gray and white print. So then, once that was dried, I went ahead and cut it out. So now I have my little dolphin shape. And then I want to add some other colors. You know, if the dolphin was in the sunset and it was, you know, they're shiny. They have their skin is very slick, and it almost feels like plastic when you touch them. It's interesting, very interesting. It would be shiny if it was jumping out of the water, and the sunset would be reflecting onto the dolphin, and some of those colors would be reflected. So I wanted to represent those reflections on the dolphin's skin using some more collage papers. So I'm just tearing some little random pieces. Again, the difference between the cut and the tear, you know, I like the balance of those two playing off each other. And I'm adding some blue. It mostly ends up being blues and turquoises and a little bit of dark purple at the end. But I'm gluing those on to my cutout dolphin using a glue stick. I can do that because I know that I'm going to attach this dolphin onto the collage using the matte gel medium, and I'm going to seal it because, you know, when I'm pressing down, I also seal over the top. So I just put them on with a glue stick instead of getting all gluey by getting out more matte medium and going on with it. So it looks like I grabbed a new piece that has some dark blue and dark purple on it. So I'm using that kind of where the shadows are, and then where the highlights and reflection are at the top of the dolphin, I'm using the lighter colors. Of course, I will define it more with other media. This won't be the end of it, but this works out well, and it's part of the paper painting process. I have made a lot of things where I've used 100% torn paper, like for everything, the background, the foreground, everything, tearing tiny little pieces. And I enjoyed that, but I enjoy this more. I like the combination of different techniques and using different media for the background or for the foreground, or adding detail with different media. I think it makes a more dynamic piece in the end. Like it's not just all one technique. So I've kind of moved away from the 100% torn paper. And in this case, the entire background was done with one print. That's unusual. That doesn't usually happen. But since it's a small piece and I had this amazing print that I had to use, that's how it turned out. Usually I would have torn the background and made layers, and I could do something similar to this effect using torn papers going horizontally, but in this case it was just all one piece. Complete luck, and saved me a little time. This piece took me about, I think, about an hour 45 minutes to complete as 6x6 collage. So you know, it's fairly small. You know, 6x6 is not huge, but it's a good mailing size, and it's flat on a flat canvas panel, so it's easy for me to mail out to the winner, which saves me. I've spent too much money in the past sending things, considering I make no money. Okay, so I'm done with all the collage now, and I am adding in some color using Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons. This one is, I believe, indigo, so a very dark bluish purple that I started out with. And I colored the crayon onto my deli paper, and then I'm picking it up with a water brush, a water barrel brush that's like water inside the barrel of the brush that comes out over the brush, which means you don't have to constantly dip. You could use a regular brush, but these are really, really handy. And I got a new set of them from Arteza, but I haven't used them yet. I just need to get around to getting them out of the package and checking them out. They had a really nice multiple tip set. So after I did that, and it was getting pretty wet, so I decided to move on to a different section of the detailing. And I decided to use my Stabilo All black pencil. It's so short. I've sharpened it so many times. It just keeps getting shorter and shorter. It's not even sharp. I didn't even sharpen it this time. It's pretty dull, but I'm just applying it around areas. I think this technique is really important when you're doing a collage, because if you can add a shadow around your images, it makes them appear as if they're all blended into the canvas instead of just something stuck on something else. And I think that if you were to compare a collage without shading of any sort and then one like the way that I do it, you would see the difference. It's a huge difference. And even if it's a magazine collage or, you know, whatever you're doing, I think that adding the shading around the edges just makes it look so much more finished and professional and also more interesting. So I'm continuing with the Stabilo All pencil. That's a very highly water reactive pencil that is made to mark on anything. It supposedly marks on anything. I don't really ever try to mark on anything except for paper, but it works great over acrylic, which some pens and pencils struggle going over acrylic. So this is a really handy tool to have. And then I'm again just using my water brush to blend it and, you know, blurring it out, making it dark towards the dolphin and then blurring it and fading it out into the background. And that makes that dolphin just really stand out from the background. So then I decide to add a tiny bit of detailing, a very fine detailing, using my PaperOcotillo Pet illustration pen. This is the bullet nib size small, and that is a permanent pen. I'm mixing medias here. I'm using some water-soluble stuff and some permanent stuff. I will be spraying this, after everything is dried up, I will spray it using a matte acrylic spray sealer outside, not in my studio. Stuff stinks. Ugh, I hate stinky stuff. But I will be doing that before I send it to anyone so that everything is all completely sealed in, and that also has a UV protection in it to help with light fastness, although pretty much everything I'm using is light fast, so I'm not too worried about that. But anyway, now I've got my white Posca pen. You remember that's an acrylic paint pen, and I'm just using it to add some highlights, and I'm dotting on that pen and then blending it using my water brush. And it's just like using a white acrylic paint, but it's extremely opaque. So it's really good for this application. Sometimes I blend it with my finger, but in this case I was blending it with the water brush, which was working out great. So then I decided that I needed to make my little aura or sun or whatever it is stand out more. So I'm adding some light blue and lavender around the rays and then blending that. I think I end up adding some aqua on the top part, and then on the bottom part I use that indigo, that dark purple again, and blend around the inner edge of my circle and around the rays on one side, giving them kind of a shadow on one side and a lighter section on the other. So nail color 2s are really great for this. They're very water reactive also, so easy to blend, easy to fade, and they work great. So now I'm just really in the process of adding details. You know, I don't think my collages are finished until they have a lot of details. I decide to add highlights to the tips of the rays using the white brush again by just the white pen, by just dotting it on and then blending it using the water brush, dabbing if it gets too white. I don't want that white to take over all the real interesting texture that print has. You know, it's got some browns and coppers and greens and blues and all kinds of colors into it. At the close-ups at the end, you'll really be able to see better all the colors of the cleanup prints. They're awesome. They're just awesome. Crusty bits. Hashtag crusty bits. Make it a thing. So then I decide that my waves need some highlights that would make them look as if they're breaking, kind of. They also kind of look like clouds, but they were supposed to be waves. They may be cloudy waves or wavy clouds. I'm not sure. But I had touched my pen onto my paper to get it going, to get it flowing, and it left a little puddle, and I just decided to use that puddle and my brush and just kind of dab on some whites in different places to make the breaking area of the waves. You know how when the wave comes up and it flops over, it makes all that white foam? That's what I was trying to add, that type of a look. And then also intensifying some of the highlights on the dolphin a little bit here and there. And of course, looking at it to see how I feel about it, touching up a little bit more. The more I look at this, the more I like it. I think it just started with the fact that that print was just something I really, really liked. So at this point, fussing, you know, being fussy, adding this, adding that, touching up this, touching up that. That's what happens, you know, in the final process of your piece. You're just really scanning everything to make sure that it is exactly what you want and touching everything up. And then at some point I decide I'm finished. I think I'm almost to the point. Yeah, there I'm signing it at the bottom, thinking I'm finished. And then I start adding little dots of white. And I like that so much that I figure that I'm just going to do lots of that. So I turn the camera back on so that you can see what I'm doing. Just adding little dots, just little tiny dots with the tip of the pen. And this is a fine tip pen. So anyway, this is complete. Be sure that you leave a comment below if you would like to win this piece, and I will be drawing on the 30th. That's it for me. Bye-bye.